So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create alt mixes, alternate versions, edits, however you want to call them. They're just basically derivative versions of a track that you've created that will be useful to, music editors, video editors, whoever is going to end up manipulating your music or your track and placing it or syncing it rather to a piece of work. So this is just to save those people time. There's no reason why a music editor can't just take the full version of your track and make his or own edits. But as a music producer working for the TV film licensing industry, you're just gonna find it more beneficial to your cause to provide these assets, or at least to be able to produce them on demand, so that your clients can just basically have one less thing to worry about. So this is just something to start implementing. Like if you're thinking of submitting your music to music libraries, sync agencies, directly to music supervisors, it's always a good idea to have at least a 60-second, a 30-second, and a 15-second edit of your track. We're not going to do every single one today. I'm actually going to show you guys how I make a teaser. So like I'm not going to make a specific version. Like usually like the reason I make a teaser is actually just to promote my tracks. I usually end up posting these teasers on SoundCloud, on YouTube. It's just this is basically how I get the word out, when I release a new track, in my catalog, and it's, to be honest, it's not super important to me. It's just like something I do every once in a while, just to have some content for social media, which I don't really prioritize, considering, what my intentions are and my objectives and my ambitions. But, it's always nice to have a little teaser, like someone who just wants to get an idea of your track. So for me, these teasers, they'll be in between 30 and 60 seconds. But if you are going to be making a 60-second, a 30-second, a 15-second edit, it's very important actually that you try to get as close to the mark as possible. So some people say it doesn't really matter. And the truth is it doesn't always matter, because you just have to put yourself in the position of the person that's going to be working with your music. So let's say it's being used for a 15-second commercial. So the reason these edits, they're 15, 30, and 60 seconds is because commercials are a specific length. Like a commercial on TV is always going to be exactly 15 seconds or exactly 30 seconds. So the music kind of has to like fit that. Like if it's a bit over 30 seconds, they're going to have to cut some of it off. If it's below 30 seconds a little bit, it's a bit better, because, commercials usually at the end, they might have like a little call to action or something along those lines. So it's a little bit less problematic. So if anything, I would aim to go below. So if it's a 60-second edit, go a little bit below 16 seconds. That's all right. Or hit 60 seconds on the nose, but not above. Try not to go above the name of the edit in terms of duration. So that's just a little quick note I wanted to make. So now we're going to get right into it. I'm going to create one on the spot for you guys to see, how I do it in Logic Pro X, to be more specific. I know some people, they just, they don't really like think much about it. They just go right ahead and they just make the edit and they bounce and they forget all about it. But for me, I like, when I take, even if it takes 10 minutes, it's still 10 minutes of my time. So I like to be able to go back and, pull that up quickly if ever I need to make a change, or if I realize that I exported it at the wrong sample rate, because if for TV and film, you're going to have to start learning how to export things at 48 kilohertz, because that's what they use, to sync, not 44.1. That's CD quality. Even if you record it at 44, you could still export at 48. So anyways, all that to say that I found a really neat feature in Logic Pro X. I'm not sure if other DAWs have something similar, but if they do, then try to do something similar. Otherwise, you can actually just duplicate your project and create another project file, specifically for that edit. But what's cool about Logic Pro X is you got these alternate project alternatives. So you see I have my full mix over here. So I'm just going to create a new one. This one's going to be called teaser. So for now, we don't save this. So basically, it's already been created. So now I still have access to my full version of the track. And I just have to basically determine which section I'm going to be using for, you know, my teaser. So once again, I'm aiming to get something between 30 and 60 seconds, but ideally not above 60 seconds. Sometimes it ends up being, you know, like a 60-second or, you know, usually ends up being a 60-second mix. So I just, you know, kill two birds with one stone there. My teaser is also my 60-second mix. So we'll see what happens today. But one of the useful features you might want to enable in your DAW is the ability to not only measure in beats and, you know, measures and that kind of stuff, but also to measure in time code. Because when you're going to have this loop thing over here, you can see that it tells you like the duration. So let's say I want to make, I want to see like, you know, and it's obviously because we're speaking in musical terms. So you want to fix it also to a relative, you know, musical measurement. Like for example, a section is usually 16 bars. So see how long 16 bars is at this a particular BPM. And in this case, 16 bars is about 40 seconds. So I might take a 16 bar section and I'll just, you know, maybe give myself, you know, like when it ends. So like maybe I'll give myself 2 bars, you know, just to let everything fade out and everything. Or if it's, you know, it depends. So I'll start with this and I'll adjust it. So you want to, like I said, like it depends on what your target is. So already, you know, if you're doing a 60-second mix, you know, you could get a little bit closer to the 1 minute point and you realize, okay, so it's going to be about this long. So what can I take, you know, and just using your eyes, you know, to kind of see the arrangement, you know, what can I take? So like you see maybe over here would be not a bad idea, but you see you have like some problems because then like you're going to have to go a bit longer here and that's over a minute. So it's not always ideal. You just got to kind of, you know, craft something that fits. I know it sounds like sometimes it might not be possible, but you'll find a way. You'll always find a way to make it fit, even if you have to make modifications or do something. So I might, and also you want to, like, depending on the type of mix that you're doing, if it's like, you know, a short one, you want to get something really climatic. With something longer, like 60 seconds, you might want to get like some sort of a build up in there. So let's see what I can get with this. See, and it's also important how you're going to come into it. So for me personally, what I might do for this one actually, which could work, is you know, like, don't be afraid. Like, this is a project alternative, so whatever you do here, it's not really gonna affect what you did in your other alternative. So it's kind of like another state. So you can actually delete this stuff. It doesn't really matter. So you know, don't be afraid to make changes. That's why I do it this way, so I don't have to worry about screwing up my original version. So let's see what this sounds like. Okay, let's get rid of the bass as well. See, already I'm not too fond of that, how that comes in. Maybe if I maybe we get something a little bit like here. See, that's kind of like the high point of my track. It's like the climax. So I don't know. Personally, I might actually go with the beginning because I like the beginning. Has a nice build up. And I might actually end up muting this. So let's do it like that. we're just gonna leave a little bit of tail over there to let it. I don't like how that ends too abruptly, so we're gonna get that. I also want to see how I actually ended the track, so you can always go back and do this. So what I'll do in this case is I'll just delete this part and I'll copy this. And I'll basically try and mimic the ending I did, because I know I like the ending. Like, obviously this is the full track and the way it ends is the way it ends, so that's gonna work. So yeah, I think this is gonna be fine. This should be good. This is basically the same ending, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. So this is it. Let's just give that a quick listen. Okay, perfect, because it has like the little fade out. So you see, sometimes you might have to like do little tweaks. Like, it has a little fade out over here, so that works. What I'm also gonna do is, hold on, I'm just gonna measure that properly. And we're gonna end it like right over here. So you see, this teaser is gonna be actually about 45 seconds, which is, and another thing we're gonna want to do is kind of go in here and just give yourself a little bit. There you go. That's just for, like, you know, if there's like a compressor or whatever, any effects, like, so they just engage. You know, you always give yourself like a little fraction of a second of head at the beginning. So this is pretty much good. The last thing I'm going to do, and this is something you should always make sure to do, is to just, I'm just going to align myself. Let's say, it doesn't really matter for this one so much, but like a little master volume fade out, so you're just 100% sure that your track is, you know, at 0 when it finishes. It's just a little, you know, extra touch of professionalism, right? So okay, so I'm just gonna make sure that I am aligned correctly, because I think I'm not. Okay, that's not so bad. All right, so basically we get out of automation, zoom back out, do that, and we're gonna bounce. So for me, like, personally, like, you know, for the time being, like, you know, like, if I'm not because the thing is, like, you don't have to worry, you don't have to make all your alt mixes beforehand, because you're not even necessarily sure. Like, let's say it's a music library, you don't know which alt mixes they'll require out of you, and if it's a client, you know, they obviously won't need all of them. They might just need a 15 and a 30-second. Like, when I was working on a project where, you know, it was basically a local TV placement, and I was directly in communication with the editor. Like, he basically just, you know, and I got, because of that, that's why I got to learn about, like, really specifically what it is that they need, and what they, you know, like, that it actually had to be exactly 15 seconds, and I got to, like, edit it to make sure it fit, you know, perfectly to the image. You know, like, you won't always have that that luxury or that misfortune, depending on how you look at things. But essentially, that's what allowed me to get a better understanding of, you know, what's required. Like, see, for that one, it was just a 15 and a 30-second. They didn't even need the 60 seconds. So, you know, what I'm saying is, like, don't waste your time making alt mixes when you're not even sure what it is that they're gonna need. You can make one or two. Like I said, like, the teaser is the best way to start. Just start by making a teaser of your track. And if you want to make a 60-second or a 30-second, I end up making them because I usually end up syncing these to, like, you know, the mock-ups that I do. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's in a playlist called Decibel Peak Studio. Like, those are usually like 60 seconds or like 90 seconds. Like, so it really depends. So for now, like, I if you're gonna start with alt mixes, alternate versions, just go for a teaser or something simple like a 30 or a 60. Just have like another version of your track, essentially a shorter, a cut down version of it. And I'm still gonna export at 44.1 because, you know, like, when I upload it, like, it saves space, you know, if you're gonna have it. But obviously, like, if you're gonna be bouncing these for your client, you can just go back and bounce it at 48. So it's already there, it's saved, it's a project alternative, it's not the end of the world. So I'm just gonna do that. And I like putting these all in a, oops, we're in the wrong project. I like putting these in a folder. So I'll actually give you guys a little sneak peek of how I organize my files for projects. So that's a little bonus if you stuck around till the end. Or maybe, you know, it's not that interesting to you. Doesn't matter. I think it's important to stay organized. So anyways, so while that's bouncing, I'll give you guys a look at that. So basically, the way it starts is I have like all my projects over here, and we have like, this is the one that we just worked on. And you see, like, what I do is I actually put a date on it, because let's say at some point I want to remake this track, I want to like update it or upgrade it or whatever, I'll do another folder in here with the date that that project was created. So it gives me, you know, if ever I want to, you know, indulge myself and actually make, you know, perfect the track, if that even exists. But you know, through the course of your life, you might end up reworking one of your tracks, making another version, like basically a cover of your own track, essentially, and you can make as many as you want. So I like giving myself that freedom. So this is, you know, how it is, how it looks like in my mind, I guess. And then in each one of these, I'm gonna have like my artwork. So, you know, I'll have like, you know, my JPEG, PNG version of it, the original image, and the file that I, you know, is like the compatible with the graphic design software that I use. So this is, you know, if I want to go swap the image or something. So it's very modular. I can always just make modifications on the fly. And the alt mixes. So we have a folder. So I like keeping those in a folder. And then other than that, like, you know, I organize my metadata. I've done a review on the software that I use for that, but I always try to have the three versions of each file. So like the WAV, the AIF, and the MP3. So just depending, you know, on where you're uploading and all that stuff. I just like to equip myself with that. So that's essentially it. It's not much more complicated than that. Obviously, since we're talking about alt mixes and alternate versions, like, this is why I bring up the organization, because if you're going to be doing this kind of work, you know, for for TV placements, sync placements, all that good stuff, it's just like really like the extra preparation that you're gonna need is this. You're gonna just have to be a lot more on your feet and have like a really organized computer and file system where you can just find everything. So I hope that this inspires you. Like, this gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going to be required of you, and you know how you're maybe going to have to change or upgrade your current workflow to meet those standards. And if ever you have any questions or would like any advice in regards to all of this, just drop me a line in the comments. I'd be more than happy to share my thoughts and start a discussion with you. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Leave us any future requests for future videos down there as well, and we'll see you in the next one.